Rob Bro. He's your sports bro at KKAM.com and the Talk 1340 app.
You guys are not doing any pass blocking. You're just stepping aside and letting them walk in.
Pop, 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 pop. That's what I want. All of you around that ball. What's wrong with y'all? Y'all play like some little girls. Y'all like y'all never played football before. These guys are nothing. You hear me? They breathe just like we do. Yes, sir. They sweat just like we do. Do you hear me? They went through 2 days. We went through 2 days in 110-degree heat. Yes, sir. I want you to hit everything to move. If the ref gets in your way, you hit him. Okay, then, let's play. But they're cheating us too. They're against us too. This is our team. This is us. Let's go right now. Let's get it off now. Let's go.
Welcome in. It's Rob Bro Show, Talk 103.9 News, Money, Sports. I am the host. You are the co-host. You can text in 806-855-3712. Lots of basketball going on. Michigan State's taking an 11-point lead. The Gauchos of UCSB taking a lead on TNT against Baylor. The under 4 timeout, 31-29. The Gauchos leading the Bears. Kennesaw State also still up on Xavier in the second half, 5 minutes in, 15 remain. 51-38, Xavier losing. The Musketeers in trouble. Yesterday in the bracket, some interesting matchups. Furman beating Virginia. Princeton beating Arizona. Alabama all of a sudden figuring out a pretty easy ride to the finals. Unless they get matched up with one of these hot teams, maybe Furman can create some magic. San Diego State looking okay in their first-round matchup against Charleston. And obviously West Virginia yesterday, the first Big 12 team and only Big 12 team to lose. Houston beating Northern Kentucky. Not a Big 12 team, but will be. Texas beating Colgate. Kansas hammering Howard. No surprise. And then Arkansas beating Illinois. Terrence Shannon Jr. scoring 20 points in the loss. Terrence Shannon has now lost twice to Arkansas in an NCAA tournament. If Baylor loses to the Gauchos, that is a weak moment for the Big 12. With 2 of those teams, both in the South, losing games that they should not. More action today obviously going on. We have been through it. We will keep going on it. About a minute left in that Michigan State USC game. But we also have Texas Tech baseball this weekend. You can certainly text in about Texas Tech baseball. How many games do you think Texas Tech wins on the series? And I want total home runs for the series. Total home runs, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State together. And I'm going to set that, the weather is interesting. I'll set it at 8.5. Total home runs, both teams. 8.5. That's what's coming up this weekend in Texas Tech's world. Last night, the Lady Raiders winning game 1 of the NIT, the WNIT. I was in the building. Very good atmosphere. It seemed like, the whole middle sections were full, just packed. There were even people, around the outside in the horseshoes. But and a half thousand people there announced attendance. Very, very strong showing. And now you get to do it again on Monday night, 6 p.m. with SMU coming to town. So back-to-back opportunities for the Lady Raiders at home in the WNIT. And Coach Gerlich referenced if they win again, they might get to keep hosting. So this is what it is in the WNIT. Until the last couple of games, you get to play at home. If you have the means and are one of the seeds that is allowed to. And I'm sure Texas Tech will do everything in their power to have the Lady Raiders at home as long as they can be. So very good showing against UTEP. Bailey Maupin with some big shots. Bree Scott with some big shots as always. Huge first quarter that allowed them to not coast the rest of the way, but not have to struggle too bad. UTEP did throw some punches, counter punches in the third quarter, but you kind of withheld and stayed on top there in the fourth. I think it got down to maybe 5 before the Lady Raiders really iced them out. And Bailey Maupin with the dagger late to really say, no, I mean, thanks for coming out. Up by 11 at halftime. Some coaches in action over the weekend that may or may not have some implications for the Texas Tech job. Oral Roberts just got rocked. North Texas beat Alcorn State in the NIT 69-53. And speaking of NIT, people still talking about Grant McCasland. This texter, who is a Grant McCasland fan, says Tech won 27 games in 2021-2022 and reached the Sweet 16 with defense. Tech averaged 72 points per game while making 60 fewer threes than opponents. This season, Texas Tech averaged 73 points per game, but allowed 8 more points per game. Tech did not play great defense this season. Offense was not the problem. Offense was the problem. The problem was you weren't good at either. You were not good at offense this year, but you also didn't have a great defense. When you have the number one defense in the world, which is what they did last year, yeah, you can go to the Sweet 16. Absolutely. 100%. And when you have guys playing out of their gourd, like Adonis Arms, and you have some really solid offensive pieces like Bryson Williams, and you have a guy who's an automatic double-double in the tournament in Kevin O'Banner, and you get to play Montana State, and you're a 3 seed, yeah, and you sweep Baylor in the regular season, yeah, you're a really good team last year. Really good. But you didn't make the Sweet 16 because you were focused on defense. You made the Sweet 16 because you were one of the best 16 teams in the country last year. Just happened to be playing the best defense in the world. There's a difference between going to Sweet 16s and winning national championships. And we're not saying you can't win with Grant McCasland. It's just a really thin margin. A really thin margin. You know who else generally plays great defense, doesn't play great defense this year? Baylor. But they also play offense. You know who plays great defense but also plays offense? Kansas. Do you know who plays great defense but also understood that they need to go and get a bunch of offensive players and shooters? Texas. You can't ignore offense and just be great at defense. That's the point. And in some ways, Grant McCasland feels like he does that. And while Chris Beard had some success, a lot of success, the most success that anybody's ever had, going to 2 straight Elite Eights, a Final Four, and a national championship appearance, focused on defense, he also had one of the top 5 offensive players in the history of Texas Tech basketball in Jarrett Culver. And he had Matt Mooney. And he had Davide Moretti, who shot 50% during Big 12 play from 3. And he had Brandon Francis, who's a dead-eye shooter from the corner in big moments. And he had Tariq Owens, who is the single-season record holder for blocks in a season at Texas Tech. And he had Norris Odiase. Like, that team wasn't a national championship appearance team because they were great at defense, because they focus on defense. They also were great on offense. They also had an incredible culture. Like, it's more than just, hey, we have a defensive mind. I'm not anti-Grant McCasland. Grant McCasland would be a fine hire. Just fine. I'm just looking for more than that. I'm looking for more than fine. I want to swing for the fences here. Thank you to the texter who recognized my joke at the end of the Raiderland. This texter looks like we will be making our hire soon. It's Miller time. He might be available here in about 30 minutes. Hey, Jacob, hope you're having a great Friday. Do you think Tech has a good chance at winning the series this weekend, considering how fire the Bats are? Also, some are saying the Gauchos are cursed. Thoughts? If the Gauchos are cursed, why are they beating Baylor right now? Also, Connor, sup, dude. It's Amy today. So, Amy, sup, dude. How about that? That's from Grande Apollo, Pollo. He signs it your best friend, so thanks, Grande. We'll see you tonight. Rob, what do you think this is a loaded question. Rob, what do you think or want the Cowboys to do next? I saw a possible offense that could include Bijan Robinson as a backup running back and DeAndre Hopkins. That would be a scary offense paired with a scary defense. If Bijan Robinson is drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, he should be the starting running back. Tony Pollard off an injury. I know people love Tony Pollard. If you draft a running back in the first round, he should be your starting running back. That's the only way it's worth it. Keep Tony Pollard in his role. Play them both. Now, people are saying that, well, DeAndre Hopkins seemingly wants to be a Dallas Cowboy. That is being reported that from his camp, he would like to go play with the Dallas Cowboys. He would make Dak Prescott better. He would make CeeDee Lamb better. He would make the running game better. He would make the team better if he's on the field. The issue there is, I believe this is reported by Jane Slater. I don't think the Cowboys are in a position or want to make that trade. Would I? Look, in my Madden GM brain, that makes a lot of sense. And I would say, why not? Really? Why not go get DeAndre Hopkins? But in my real life football brain, I don't think I would draft Bijan Robinson. Now, I definitely want to draft a running back, but I would focus on a 3rd or 4th or 5th round running back. Isaiah Pacheco was a 6th or 7th round running back for the Chiefs. You just don't have to spend draft capital at the top of the draft. And in the Cowboys position, I also would not draft offensive line in the first round. They've done that too much. I would try really hard to go find some big bruiser, especially if you just want to focus on the running game this year. I mean, Trey Smith, I go back to the Chiefs. They just draft better than everyone else lately. He was also a 5th or 6th round pick. Now, he had some concerns, which is why he fell, but you go back to La'el Collins, he was undrafted, should have been a 1st round pick. So you can go find that guy on the offensive line. I don't know what I would do in the Cowboys draft right now. You went and got Stephon Gilmore. Do you need another corner? Do you trust Anthony Brown to return? Are you keeping Jordan Lewis? Do you think that you can be deep enough in that secondary? Deron Bland, as a rookie, showed out pretty good. Do you think Kelvin Joseph will improve? Is there a safety on the board that could really improve your defense? If you don't want to get DeAndre Hopkins, do you go wide receiver 1st round? Do you shore up the linebacker room to keep Micah Parsons near the line of scrimmage? Do you draft an edge rusher so you can keep him off the line of scrimmage more? I don't know. There are a lot of options for the Dallas Cowboys, and I think they should be active in the trade market, but I don't know what the next step is for them. And I know Mike McCarthy wants to run the ball, but you can't just run the ball in the NFL. It's just not how it works. You need to run the ball, but you can't just do that. All right, let's take a break. When we come back to the text line. More NCAA basketball. Will update the scores when we return as well. It's a Rob Breaux Show, Talk 103.9 News, Money Sports. Welcome back. It's Rob Breaux Show, Talk 103.9 News, Money Sports. This texter on the Cowboys respectfully disagree about the Cowboys' 1st round pick. We need O-line and would like to go after an all-conference caliber center. That will make the rest of the line better. We're too thin at O-line to be average. How about this? Go trade for somebody. Go get a free agent. The draft is not the only place to get an offensive lineman. The Chiefs just moved on from I hate that I keep going back to the Chiefs, but they're just better than everybody else. They just moved on from a Pro Bowl left tackle and went and got a guy who was better from the Jaguars. By too thin, I mean not enough depth. I got it. You don't want fatter offensive linemen. Yeah, I got it. It's too thin. I understand. I got it. Hey there, Joe. Thank you. Why are some Tech fans obsessed with McCasland? Tech doesn't need to go shopping in the bargain bin for coaches anymore. I think that's a little unfair to Grant McCasland. But there's a reason he hasn't moved on, right? I mean, he's still at North Texas. He could have been hired the last 2 seasons and wasn't. Allegedly, he could have been waiting for the Texas Tech job to reopen. But, yeah, I don't know. But until you go hire a big name, again, you haven't. Chris Beard was not a big name at the time. It just made sense for him to come back to Texas Tech after spending a decade as an assistant. He was a rising name. But that was his first opportunity. Now, you did get Tubby Smith, national champion, Hall of Famer Tubby Smith, to come to Texas Tech. Stayed 3 seasons. So, 2 seasons? 3 seasons? How long did he stay? I have no idea. Somebody else asked if Dusty had told me who Texas Tech was going to hire. No, I don't. Dustin is not on my speed dial. Dustin Womble's not on my speed dial. But I just, man, I don't know. I don't know who Texas Tech's going to hire. And again, I'm not anti Grant McCasland like some people. I'm not pro Grant McCasland either. I'm just neutral. Back to the Cowboys conversation. Cowboys could trade for the Bengals left tackle that is demanding a trade since they picked up Brown. I don't want a Bengals offensive lineman. Though, actually, if Lyle Collins gets cut, because they moved that guy to right tackle, I would take Lyle Collins back and play him at left guard. I would do that. And then they say D-Hop is no better than OBJ. The drama would be too bad. No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. And I would take OBJ. It's the Dallas Cowboys. We're not talking about the Texans. We're not talking about, the Broncos. We're not talking about the Chargers. We're not talking about the Packers. We're not talking about the Jaguars. It's the Dallas Cowboys. The media intensity would pick up if OBJ was there, and it would be a clown show. It's always a clown show. It's the Cowboys. The scrutiny is at an 11 already. It can't go higher. There's a reason Terrell Owens finally found a home with the Dallas Cowboys. The team is bigger than him. He imploded the Eagles. He imploded the 49ers. The Cowboys can handle it. Nobody's bigger than the Cowboys. Nobody's bigger than the Star. You're not going to create, the problem's already there. Jerry is the problem. Nobody is more of a personality or more drama than Jerry Jones. Like, it's just already there. It's priced in. Does not affect the team. It's just, I guess it does affect the team, but it doesn't affect the team anymore because it just already happens. All right, let's take another break. When we come back, Tech baseball, Oklahoma State baseball. I'll give some predictions. We'll talk about who to watch for with Oklahoma State. They've got a couple of hitters. Texas Tech does too. They've got some stuff. Oklahoma State does. We'll talk about it. It's the Rob Rose Show. Talk 103.9 News, Money Sports. Welcome back.
Now in the street there is violence.
Rob Rose Show, Talk 103.9 News, Money Sports.
No place to hang out or washing.
I'm going to give you some stats here. Texas Tech baseball. Overall, Gavin Cashing, 487. 33 RBIs, 7 home runs, 14 walks. 548 on base percentage. Very good. Very good. Nolan Hester at home. 506 on base. Total. Austin Green total. 512. If you go to the home batting average and statistics, in Dan Law Field, Gavin Cash, 531. On base, 584, 32 RBIs, 7 home runs, 5 doubles, 34 hits and 64 at-bats. Gage Harrelson right behind him. 413. Austin Green at home, 395. Kevin Bazell at home, 339. Tracer Lopez at home, 333. Hudson White at home, 325. Nolan Hester, 298. The on-base percentage of the starting lineup, 584, 519, 529, 469, 395, 434, 529. Cash has walked and struck out about the same. Harrelson has struck and walked out about the same. Austin Green at home, 15 walks, 2 strikeouts. Bazell, 15 walks, 8 strikeouts. Nolan Hester, 17 walks, 4 strikeouts. This is all at Danlaw. You're playing at Danlaw this weekend. Mason Molina at home, 1-0, 1.26 ERA. Brendan Girton, the starter tonight, 2.57. Both have pitched 14 innings. 20 strikeouts for Molina at home to 7 walks, 11-9 for Girton. Girton has to control today. He has to find the strike zone. Oklahoma State has only played one true road game this year. 1-2, neutral site, 13-1 at home. On a 12-game winning streak, Nolan Schubart, a freshman, batting .424, 16 strikeouts, so he is susceptible, but batting .424, on base of .528. Chase Atkinson, Aiden Miola, Rock Riggio. You recognize Rock Riggio, I'm sure. This is a team, though, that will strike out. Miola has 3 walks to 20 strikeouts. Riggio struck out 18 times, walked 16. Nolan McLean has 19 walks, but 22 strikeouts. You can get them. Now, their 2 starters, Stevens and Watts Brown, very good. Stevens, a reliever, but has pitched 22 1/3 innings in 3 appearances. 3 wins, 7 appearances. So about 3 innings a game when he comes in. Watts Brown has 4 starts. Then you have Carson Benj with 2 starts, Brian Hendry with 2 starts, Ben Abram with 2 starts, Braden Root with 2 starts, Brennan Phillips with 4 starts, Jansen Kiesel with 3 starts. So they have 1 All-American starter. Their no-hitters were combined no-hitters. They've turned 7 double plays. Texas Tech has turned 25. In my opinion, I think Texas Tech, because this game's at home, this series is at home, I think Texas Tech has the edge. Texas Tech should win this series. If Oklahoma State wins a series, would I be surprised? No. Oklahoma State's really good. Oklahoma State ranked higher. Oklahoma State thought of better by the national media. And I would say that if Texas Tech wins this series, it would be an upset nationally. Certainly because of the rankings. Today you'll have Girton versus Hendry. Hendry, a junior, he's 1-0. Last start against Utah Tech went 6 innings, 13 strikeouts, gave up 2 earned runs on 5 hits. Is a 4.09 ERA total. Hendry on the year has started 2 games, been in 3, has only thrown 11 innings. 10 hits, 5 earned runs. And again, you go back to Girton. Girton total, 2.95 ERA, 4 appearances, 3 starts, 18 innings. 12 hits, 6 earned runs. Pretty even. A game extra, but even stats. Whoever wins this game tonight, I think wins this series. Tomorrow will be a pitcher's duel, I hope. I hope. If somebody gets to a bullpen early on Saturday or tonight, this series could look a lot different. But in my opinion, because this game is at Dan Law, you should win 2 of 3. I think you should win every series at home. Texas Tech is that good at home. It'll be Gavin Cash's first Big 12 series as a starter. Of course, he was at Texas last year, so he knows the drill. Playing behind Ivan Melendez. But otherwise, a lot of the guys, maybe besides Bazell or Harrelson, they've seen a lot of action. They're newcomers, but they've been around. Hudson White obviously been around through the Big 12. I am interested to see what you're going to do in the outfield. The projected Texas Tech lineup, which does not mean it's going to be the lineup tonight, will be Hester, Harrelson, Bazell, Green, Ty Coleman at DH, back in the mix. Gavin Cash, Hudson White, Jarrett Curtis, the freshman, in center field, and then Tracer Lopez, the shortstop. We'll see how that all goes. Back to the text line. Is your bracket busted yet, Bobbert? I was 9 and 7 yesterday? This texter, Rob, I'm scared for Tech with Big Hendry on the mound for OSU. Certainly a scary name. Certainly a scary name. All right, let's take another break. When we come back, more Rob Breaux Show, more texters, more fun. It's the Rob Breaux Show, Talk 103.9 News, Money, Sports. Welcome back. Final segment of the week for the Rob Breaux Show. Talk 103.9 News, Money, Sports. Text line 806-855-3712. Somebody else texted in. I lost it, but... oh, here it is. Do you know that if it's true that Jerome Tang expressed disinterest? I don't know if that's true, but here's how I feel like that conversation went. Tech to Jerome Tang's agent, hey, would you have interest in taking the Texas Tech job? Agent to Tang, no, I really like it here at Kansas State. Love Texas Tech, they're a great program. Tell them thanks, but no thanks. Back to agent to Tech, done deal. That's what I assume. I do not know. I don't know. But Tang doesn't strike me as the kind of guy to go to a place, completely buy in, and then move to another Big 12 school in the first year. It just does, like would Joey McGuire go to Oklahoma State if they fired Gundy this year? Like, it just doesn't seem like a natural thing. I'm not saying that Texas Tech's not a better job. I just don't think that Jerome Tang personally would be interested in leaving after 1 year at a place. This texture, 450 brackets remain perfectly. Not sure if they include Ted Cruz or Lainey Wilson. I don't think they do. My bracket would include Lainey Wilson, if that's what you meant. Final thoughts on this Oklahoma State series. I do think that Texas Tech has a bit of an advantage in the bullpen. They've got a couple of guys, a couple of arms out of the bullpen. But I think you're deeper. And I can't say this enough. You're at home. Now, you went on the road last year to Stillwater. You were not favored on the road last year in Stillwater. In fact, everyone thought you were going to go down there and get trounced. You swept them. And you did it fairly easily. I mean, it was a good series for you. And I want to say it was a thing where their play-by-play guy and the color guy, who's the coach's dad, were just like openly saying, "This is ridiculous. How is Texas Tech beating you? Texas Tech is no good this year." And you beat them 7-6, 9-3, 6-4. Saturday is going to be an elite pitching matchup. Sunday, you both have questions for a Sunday starter. Tonight is the game you have to win. Tonight is a must-win for Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. This series, it generally is this in the Big 12. The Friday game is the most important game of the series. Last weekend against Iowa, that Saturday game was really good because you had two really good pitchers going. That's going to be again this week. But if you can limit their bullpen by getting to their starter early tonight, huge for you. Flip side, huge for them. I believe this Xavier game should be over. No, they're up 2. No, they're up 3. With 2 seconds to go, Xavier stormed back, went in the second half by 10, up by 3. Baylor creating some space with the Gauchos. I said early in the first half, or midway through the first half when it was tight, that 12.5 line looked good for Baylor. The Gauchos actually took a lead into halftime 36-35, but that generally teams like Baylor can stretch it out at the end. Generally. Now, sometimes Princeton or Furman stick around and beat you. It looks like Kennesaw State has fouled, or Xavier fouled. Nope, Kennesaw State fouled. Xavier up by 4, second left. That game's over. Baylor getting some turnovers now. If the Gauchos hang in there, if they're within 5 minutes left, anything can happen. Absolutely anything can happen. As Baylor gets another turnover. Dangerous. 6-point lead for Baylor, 54-48. And that's after a 3 from... Oh, Baylor just got a 3 back. Okay. I think Baylor will win. I think Baylor wins. I think it was a 12.5-point live line. I think they cover. We'll see if I'm cursed or not. We will certainly have more Dallas Cowboys draft talk coming up in the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever it is. A long way to go for the draft. Tyree Wilson's name still being mentioned in the top 5. The Seattle Seahawks have been a popular destination for him. I think there are a lot of good spots for Tyree Wilson. I think he's definitely a top 10 pick. If he doesn't go 5, I think there's plenty of other spots there in the top 10. It also depends who trades out. If teams are trading out for quarterbacks and they're getting up into the top 5, that pushes back Tyree Wilson a little bit. But again, we'll talk about that plenty more as we roll through. At halftime, St. Mary's leads VCU by 1. Iowa State tipping off in about 10 minutes. And then tonight, TCU at 9:05, Kansas State at 8:40. Both favored. Kansas State favored by 7.5, TCU favored by 5. If somebody loses today from the Big 12, if it's not the Gauchos bouncing Baylor, it's TCU. We'll be back Monday. I've been Rob Burrow. Be Rob Burrow.
The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this Talk 1340 program are not necessarily the views of Talk 1340, its advertisers, staff, management, or Town Square Media.